The night started with a lie. Emily stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the strap of her dress, tilting her head just enough to look effortless but perfect. She always did that. Tiny calculated movements like she was rehearsing for an audience. I watched her from the doorway, something gnawing at the back of my mind, but I pushed it down. "You look good," I said, not because I was trying to flatter her, but because I wanted her to turn around to see me, to acknowledge me in a way she had not in weeks. "Obviously," she muttered, fixing her lipstick. That should have been my first warning. The second came when we got into the car, and her phone lit up with a message. She tilted the screen away before I could read it. "Reflex, a guilty person's reflex." "Who's that?" I asked, keeping my voice even. "Maggie," she said too quickly. "A coworker, someone she barely liked but always used as an excuse when she needed an alibi." I should have asked to see the message. I should have pressed, but instead I let it go, telling myself I was being paranoid. That was my mistake. Giving her the benefit of the doubt when she did not deserve it. By the time we arrived at the venue, something was off. The second she stepped inside, she changed. She walked ahead of me, like we were not together, her eyes scanning the crowd for someone. Her smile was too sharp, her energy too electric. I felt like an afterthought, trailing behind as she drifted into a group of coworkers. And then I saw him, Jake, tall, broad, standing like he owned the room. I recognized him instantly, not from stories Emily told me because she never mentioned him, but from instinct. Predators recognize other predators. He was watching her before she even saw him. His smile creeping in slow, confident. Emily caught his eye, and everything in her posture shifted. The way she leaned in, the way she bit her lip, the way she laughed before he even said anything. And then he started walking toward us. "Are you her husband?" he asked, looking straight at me, but grinning like this was a joke, only he and Emily were in on. I did not answer. "I'm dancing with her now," he added casual, as if I was just an obstacle in his way. Emily turned to him, smirking. "You do not need his permission, Jake." My jaw tightened. The room shrank. This was not a misunderstanding. This was not a harmless moment. This was intentional. "Do not even think about touching her with your dirty hands," I said, my voice steady, controlled. Jake chuckled, unfazed. "You do not own her. I'll dance with her, and maybe more than he did it." He reached for her, his hands sliding to the small of her back, fingers pressing into her skin just enough to make his point. And Emily, she laughed, not nervous, not uncomfortable, amused. I did not think. My body moved before my mind caught up. My fist connected with his jaw so fast that the sound cracked through the air, silencing the music, the chatter, everything. Jake stumbled back, eyes wide for a fraction of a second before his face twisted with something between anger and excitement. Emily gasped, but it was not horror. It was irritation, like I was the problem. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she snapped, grabbing my arm, her nails digging into my skin. "You embarrassing me, embarrassing her." Jake wiped his mouth, grinning, a smear of blood on his lip. "Guess I hit a nerve," he muttered. I turned to Emily, my pulse hammering. "Do you have anything to say for yourself?" She crossed her arms. "Yeah, you just assaulted my coworker. Congratulations, you cliché." She was not denying anything. She was not making excuses. She was just mad that I reacted. The realization hit like a gut punch. This was not the first time. It was not a one-time mistake. This had been happening right in front of me, and I was too blind to see it. Jake leaned closer, voice low, but smug. "You out of your league, man." I did not hit him again. Not because I did not want to, but because I was done wasting energy on someone who was not worth it. I looked at Emily, really looked at her. And for the first time, I did not see my wife. I saw a stranger who had already chosen her side. That I should have walked away. I should have turned on my heel and left her standing there with her smug little smirk and her arrogant boy toy. Let them rot in their own filth. But I did not, because I needed to hear it from her. I needed her to say it. The room was still quiet, people staring, the tension thick enough to cut. Emily stood there, arms crossed, tapping her heel against the floor like I was inconveniencing her. So that's it? I asked, my voice eerily calm. You're not even going to deny it? She rolled her eyes. Deny what exactly? That you just made a total fool of yourself, that you punched a guy at my work event. What do you want me to say, Brian? I want you to tell me the truth, I said, stepping closer. How long has this been going on? Jake chuckled. Oh man, he really does not know. I turned on him so fast he flinched. But Emily shoved herself between us, her palm pressing against my chest. Jesus Christ, can you not? She hissed. This is exactly why I did not tell you, because you do crap like this. Her words were a slow knife twisting in my gut, because you do crap like this. So you admit it? I said, the breath catching in my throat. She did not even hesitate. Yeah, I admit it. You happy now? There it was. No regret, no guilt. Just frustration that I caught her. The way the air got sucked out of my lungs felt unreal. Like I had just stepped off a cliff without realizing it. A part of me wanted her to panic, to backtrack, to grab my hand and tell me it was just a misunderstanding. But she did not. She just stood there, glaring at me like I was the one who ruined everything. How long? I asked again, my voice barely above a whisper. She shrugged, like it did not even matter. Does it really make a difference? I felt something in me snap. It does to me, I growled. Jake laughed again, shaking his head. Damn, man. This is just sad. I almost feel bad for you. Emily's head whipped toward him. Jake, shut up. That was interesting. The way she said it, not like she was defending me, but like he was being reckless. Like she did not want him to say too much. I turned back to her, my mind racing. How long? She exhaled, looking up at the ceiling like she was mentally counting. And then she said it. Since May, the floor beneath me might as well have collapsed. May, that was 7 months, 7 months of lying, sneaking around, coming home to me with that same damn smirk she just gave Jake. 7 months of looking me in the eye, kissing me, sleeping next to me while she was with him. My hands clenched, but I forced myself to stay still, because the anger I felt was not just about the affair. It was about the ease with which she admitted it. 7 months, I repeated, almost laughing. And you did not even try to hide it tonight? Why? She tilted her head, studying me like I was an idiot, because I was going to tell you anyway. I blinked. Excuse me? I was going to tell you. She repeated slower, like I was a child. I did not think it would happen like this. Like this, as if there was supposed to be a right way to confess you've been screwing someone else for more than half a year. You were going to tell me? I echoed, my voice shaking. When? After the party? After you let him take you home? Her lips pressed into a thin line. She did not deny it. Something inside me shattered. And this time, I did not try to stop it. You read disgusting, I said, my voice cold. She narrowed her eyes. Do not be dramatic, Brian. Dramatic. That word hit me harder than anything else. I had just found out my wife had been screwing some arrogant bastard for 7 months. And I was the one being dramatic. I laughed, actually laughed, because the absurdity of it all was too much. You know what, Emily? I said, stepping back, my whole body trembling. You deserve him. I did not wait for her response. I turned on my heel, grabbed my coat, and walked out of that godforsaken party. I did not know where I was going. I did not care. All I knew was that I needed to get away before I did something I'd regret. But as I stepped out into the cold night air, one thought burned in my mind. This was not over, not by a long shot. The air outside hit me like a slap, but it was not enough to clear my head. My mind was a storm, and no amount of cold or distance could fix it. I had just walked out of a party where my wife knew Emily because she sure as hell was not my wife anymore. Admitted to a 7-month affair like she was discussing the weather. 7 months. I paced the parking lot, my breath sharp, my pulse erratic, my hands trembled from adrenaline, and I clenched them into fists to steady myself. I needed to think, I needed to figure out my next move. But all I could hear was her voice. I was going to tell you anyway, lies. Every word out of her mouth was a lie. If she was planning to tell me, she would not have let Jake put his filthy hands on her in front of me. She would not have smirked when he did it. No, she was only saying that because she got caught. I should have left. I should have gotten into my car and driven as far away from her as possible. But I could not. Not yet. Because something did not sit right with me. Emily had been careful for 7 months. She had lied effortlessly, kept it a secret, made me believe everything was fine. And now all of a sudden, she just stopped hiding it. That was not an accident. That was intentional. I turned my eyes snapping back toward the venue doors. What if she had not planned on telling me tonight? But he had. What if Jake was getting cocky? That would explain the way she snapped at him. The sharp Jake, shut up. That was not her defending me. That was her realizing he was about to say something she was not ready for me to hear. The thought hit me like a sledgehammer. Emily was not just a cheater. She was a coward. She was not ending things with me because she felt guilty. She was ending things because she did not have a choice anymore. My whole body buzzed with rage. I was not going to let her control the story. I was not going to let her turn this into me being the problem. She wanted to be with Jake, fine. But she was going to tell me the whole truth. I stormed back inside. The moment I stepped through the doors, the energy in the room shifted. People turned to look at me. Their whispers slithering through the air like poison. Let them talk. I did not give a damn. My eyes scanned the room, locking onto her. Emily stood near the bar. Arms crossed, talking to Jake in hushed tones. The second she saw me, her expression soured. Oh, for God's sake, Brian, what now? She snapped, as if I was an inconvenience, as if I was ruining her night. That was it. That was the moment I stopped feeling anything for her. No sadness, no longing. Just disgust. I walked right up to them, ignoring the way Jake straightened. His jaw still red from my punch. I did not look at him. He was not worth my time. I stared straight at Emily. Tell me the truth, I said, my voice dangerously calm. All of it. Not just the parts that make you look good. She huffed, glancing around like she was embarrassed to be seen talking to me. Brian, I already told you. No, you told me what you wanted me to hear. Now tell me the rest. Why tonight? Why stop hiding it now? Jake shifted beside her. And that was all the confirmation I needed. Emily's whole body went rigid. He knew something. I turned to him, my lip curling. What was she planning, Jake? Since you seem to know so much. He hesitated, glancing at Emily. Her eyes flashed with panic. Just for a second. She was not in control anymore. That was when I knew she was not going to tell you, Jake said finally, crossing his arms. She was just going to leave. I felt something inside me turn to ice. Emily exhaled sharply, shaking her head. Jake, shut up. No. I snapped, stepping closer. Let him talk. You owe me that much. Jake looked at me, then back at her. Then with the same cocky smirk he always had, he shrugged. She was not planning to tell you, man. She was just going to pack up and leave while you were at work one day. No explanation, no fight. Just gone. Emily's face paled. And that was the only thing that kept me from knocking Jake's teeth out. Because it was true. I let out a sharp breath. My vision blurring at the edges. My wife, the woman I had built a life with, the woman I had trusted, had planned to walk out like I was nothing. Were you ever going to tell me? I asked Emily, my voice barely above a whisper. She clenched her jaw, her eyes darting to the side. Silence. And that silence told me everything I needed to know. She was not sorry. She never was. She had just gotten caught. The silence stretched between us, heavy and suffocating. The whole room was still watching. People pretending not to stare while openly eavesdropping. Emily's face was unreadable now. Guarded cold. Like she had already moved on from this conversation before it even ended. Jake, on the other hand, was enjoying this. He leaned against the bar, watching the disaster unfold like it was premium entertainment. I wanted to hit him again, harder this time. But I would not. Because he was not the problem. He was just a symptom of it. Emily was the disease. I took a slow breath, forcing my anger into something sharper. Control. I was not going to let her walk away from this so easily. You were going to leave without telling me. I said again, just to hear it out loud, just to make sure I was not losing my mind. Emily sighed, rubbing her temples like I was the one giving her a headache. Brian, I do not know what you want me to say. This thing between us. It's been over for a long time. You just did not want to admit it. Oh, so now it's my fault? I laughed. A hollow, bitter sound. You could not just break up with me like a normal person. You had to screw around behind my back for 7 months, and then sneak out like a damn thief. I did not want to fight. She muttered, avoiding my gaze. You did not want to fight. I echoed, my voice dripping with disbelief. You did not want to fight, but you wanted to cheat. You wanted to lie. You wanted to parade your little boy toy in front of me like I was some idiot. Emily rolled her eyes. God, Brian, stop being so dramatic. Something inside me snapped. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. You are unbelievable. You do not even feel bad. Do you? She scoffed, folding her arms. I do not feel bad for finally doing something for myself. Jake smirked beside her. That was his mistake. I turned on him so fast, his smug expression twitched for a second. And you? I said, my voice ice cold. What's your plan? Huh? You think she would not do the same thing to you? His smirk faltered. But Emily cut in before he could answer. Oh my God, Brian, stop. This is not about you anymore. It's about me choosing to be happy. You can be pissed all you want. But I'm done apologizing for that. Apologizing. She had not apologized once. I stared at her, searching for something, anything that made her feel like the woman I once knew. But she was gone. Maybe she had been gone for a long time and I just refused to see it. I exhaled slowly, shaking my head. You are a piece of work, Emily. She did not flinch. Did not react at all. She just stared at me, waiting for me to leave. So I did. I turned, shoving through the crowd, feeling every set of eyes burning into my back. But before I reached the exit, I heard her voice one last time. Guess I do not have to pretend anymore. I stopped. The words were low, muttered under her breath, probably meant just for Jake. But I heard them. I heard them. And in that moment, the pain I felt died. I turned my head slightly, just enough to look over my shoulder. Emily was not watching me anymore. She was already leaning into Jake, whispering something in his ear. Her lips curved in amusement. She thought this was funny. She thought she had won. She had no idea what was coming next. I did not go home. Home was not home anymore. Home was ours. And now it was nothing. Every room, every piece of furniture, every inch of that house was poisoned with Emily's lies. I could not walk through the front door and pretend it had not all been a joke at my expense. So instead I drove. No destination, no music, just the sound of the tires against the road and the words looping in my head like a sick, twisted mantra. Guess I do not have to pretend anymore. That was not something you said after a difficult decision. That was not something you said after wrestling with guilt. That was relief. That was someone unshackling themselves, stretching, enjoying their newfound freedom. She had not just checked out of our marriage. She had been waiting for me to catch up. The rage sat low in my gut, simmering, dangerous. I had given her 7 years of my life, of my trust, of my everything. And in the end, she had been counting down the minutes until she could finally stop pretending to care. I tightened my grip on the steering wheel, my thoughts racing too fast for me to keep up. I was not just angry. I was humiliated. I had been so blind, so pathetically in love, that I did not even see it coming. And now she had the audacity to act like I was the crazy one for being upset. No, no, this was not ending like that. I pulled into an empty parking lot, my hands shaking with adrenaline. I needed to breathe. I needed to think. But all I could see was her laughing with Jake. Her body already pressed against his before I even made it out the door. She had no intention of waiting. And suddenly I knew I needed to go back, not to fight, not to beg. But because there was more, Emily had been playing a game, a long one. And if she was so comfortable flaunting Jake in my face now, then what else had she been lying about? I yanked my phone from my pocket and scrolled through our shared cloud storage. It was mostly useless crap, old vacation photos, grocery lists, random screenshots. But then something caught my eye, a folder labeled Work Docs. Emily did not use our cloud for work. She had always kept her files on a separate drive, paranoid about company security. So why would she have a whole folder saved here? I clicked it. And then I saw them dozens of photos, messages, emails, all with Jake's name attached. Some of them were blurry shots from bars, dimly lit hotel rooms, text previews with messages that made my blood boil. Last night was incredible. See not stop thinking about it. You looked so good in that dress today. See not wait to take it off later. He is so clueless. It's almost funny. The dates, some of them went back further than May. Some of them went back a year. A year, I nearly dropped the phone. My vision blurred at the edges. My heart beat a violent drum in my ears. 7 months was a lie. It had been so much longer than that. Emily had not just betrayed me. She had built an entire second life behind my back. And now she thought she had won. I stared at the screen, my jaw tightening, my pulse steadied, the rage, the betrayal, the gut-wrenching humiliation. All of it solidified into something clearer, colder. She thought this was over. She thought she had destroyed me. But I was not the one who was about to lose everything. She was. I turned the car around. The rage was gone now. Burned out, leaving behind something sharper, something calculated. I was not about to storm in like an idiot and start screaming at Emily in front of her smug little boyfriend. No, she had already humiliated me once tonight. That was not going to happen again. This time I was in control. By the time I pulled back into the venue parking lot, I knew exactly what I was going to do. My hands were steady now. My breathing was even. Emily thought she had won. She thought she had played me. But she had made one mistake, one huge mistake. She underestimated me. I walked back into the party. The energy still buzzing from the earlier scene. People shot me nervous glances, probably expecting another fight. But I was not looking at them. I was looking at her. Emily was still at the bar, her body angled toward Jake, her hand lazily tracing circles on the rim of her glass. She was comfortable, relaxed, like she did not have a care in the world. Like she had already erased me from her life. Good. I approached without hesitation. My expression unreadable. Emily noticed me first. Her mouth twisted in annoyance. But before she could say anything, I slid my phone onto the bar between us. She frowned. What? Go ahead. I said, my voice calm. Open it. Jake leaned in, slightly curious. Emily's fingers hesitated before tapping the screen. Then she saw it. The folder, her face barely changed. But I knew her too well. That flicker of hesitation. The slight twitch of her jaw. She had just realized she was not the one holding the cards anymore. Oh, I said, tilting my head. You look surprised. Guess you did not think I'd find those. She swallowed, but quickly recovered. She was good at lying. Always had been. So you went through my stuff? Real mature. Brian, she said, her voice flat. You really want to do this here? Jake peered at the screen, frowning. What am I looking at? Emily moved fast. She tried to swipe the phone away. But I was faster. I grabbed it before she could. Turning the screen toward Jake. You re-looking at proof? I said smoothly. Proof that you were not the first. His eyes flicked across the messages, the photos, the dates. And then I saw at that split second where it clicked. Where he realized that Emily had been cheating on him too before he even knew it. His entire face changed. What the hell is this? He asked, his tone no longer smug. Emily let out a sharp laugh. But there was an edge to it. Oh, do not be stupid, Jake. He's just trying to turn you against me. Are you? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Because if that's the case, then go ahead. Deny it. Tell Jake that these dates do not line up. Tell him that you were not screwing someone else while you were with him. Silence. A long silence. Jake's hands curled into fists on the bar. You told me I was the only one. Emily exhaled sharply, turning to him. Jake, how long? He cut in, his voice tight. How long were you lying to me? Now Emily was on the defensive. She was not expecting this. She thought she could ride this whole night out. Come out clean on the other side with no consequences. But she was not clean. She was filthy with lies. It's not what it looks like. She tried placing a hand on Jake's arm. He shrugged it off, his jaw clenched. Oh, really? Because it looks like you were screwing some other guy while telling me how special I was. Emily scoffed. Do not be dramatic. Oh, you do not get to say that anymore. I cut in, a dark satisfaction creeping into my voice. That line does not work when you recaught lying to both of us. Jake pushed back from the bar, standing up. He was taller than Emily, towering over her now, and suddenly, she did not look so confident. Unbelievable. He muttered, shaking his head. You made me think he was pathetic for staying with you. Turns out, I was just as much of an idiot. Emily's expression flickered, her mouth tightening. Oh, do not act like you're innocent in all this, Jake. Yeah. Well, at least I was not dumb enough to leave evidence, I said, smirking. Jake turned to me then, his face unreadable. For a second, I thought he might take a swing at me just for the hell of it. But then he did something unexpected. He laughed. A bitter, almost amused laugh. Damn. He muttered, running a hand through his hair. She really played both of us, huh? Emily threw up her hands. Oh, for God's sake, save it, I said, stepping back. I've heard enough lies for a lifetime. Jake stared at her for a long moment. Then he grabbed his drink, threw it back in one gulp, and slammed the glass onto the bar. Yeah. He muttered, me too. And just like that, he walked away. Emily froze. She was not expecting that. Her entire plan had just collapsed in real time. She had lost everything in a matter of minutes. And I watched the realization dawn on her face like a slow-motion car crash. She turned to me, her mouth opening. Maybe to argue, maybe to beg, but I did not care. I leaned in just close enough for her to hear. Guess you do not have to pretend anymore, I whispered, then I walked out. And this time, I did not look back. The second I stepped outside, the cold air filled my lungs like a cleanse, stripping away the suffocating weight of her. Emily was nothing now. No worse. She was alone. I did not stop walking until I reached my car. My hands were not shaking anymore. My pulse was not erratic. I was not drowning in anger or heartbreak. Instead, I felt something I had not expected. Satisfaction. Because for the first time since this nightmare started, I had won. I had walked into that party as the clueless husband, the fool, the guy everyone was whispering about. And I walked out leaving Emily exactly where she deserved to be, scrambling, exposed, powerless. She had spent months crafting the perfect escape plan. She thought she was in control, that she would leave me in the dust and ride off into the sunset with Jake. But now she had nothing. I slid into the driver's seat, gripping the wheel, but before I could start the engine, my phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen. Emily, I smirked. Of course, she had lost her backup plan. Now she was scrambling to save the original. I let it ring out. I was not playing her games anymore. But then another buzz, another message, then another curious. I unlocked my phone. Emily, Brian, do not be stupid. Answer me. Emily, we need to talk. Emily, I swear to God, if you ignore me, I will show up at the house. Emily, are you seriously doing this right now? Grow up. I laughed, actually laughed. Because even after everything, even after getting caught, after getting exposed, after losing Jake, Emily still thought she had control. I put my phone on silent. Then, for the hell of it, I turned my car off and walked back inside, not toward Emily, not toward the bar, toward Jake. He was standing near the exit, looking just as lost as I had felt an hour ago. He did not notice me at first, too busy running a hand through his hair like he was trying to process what just happened. Then he glanced up. Our eyes met, a moment of tense silence stretched between us. Then, to my own surprise, I extended my hand. Drink? Asked. Jake stared at me like I was insane. Then, after a beat, he let out a dry laugh and nodded. Hell yeah, because the truth was I was not done yet. Not even close. We sat at a corner table, away from the prying eyes and whispers of the partygoers still reeling from the disaster Emily had just orchestrated. The bartender did not even hesitate when Jake ordered 2 whiskeys. Neat. Maybe he had seen enough drama tonight to know we needed them. I did not speak first. I just studied, watching the way his fingers tapped against the glass, his knee bouncing slightly. He was still processing, still wrapping his head around the fact that Emily had played him just as much as she had played me. Finally, he exhaled sharply. Man, he muttered, shaking his head. I really thought I was the one she was leaving you for. I took a slow sip of my drink, letting the burn settle in my chest before answering. Yeah, I'm used. Well, so did I. Jake let out a bitter chuckle. But there was no humor in it. She told me you were checked out, that you did not care about her anymore, that she tried for years to fix things. But you just, he waved a hand vaguely, stopped loving her. Asterisk, I arched an eyebrow, the audacity, right? I said, swirling the whiskey in my glass. And you bought that? He huffed. Guess I wanted to make it easier. You know, he took a long sip, then set his glass down hard. Damn, I was such a sucker. I leaned back in my chair, tilting my head. How did it start? I asked, not because I wanted to torture myself, but because I needed to know exactly how deep Emily's deception went. Jake rubbed a hand over his face, exhaling slowly. She came on to me, he admitted. I mean, she played it slow at first. Little things, compliments, lingering touches, inside jokes. Then one night, we were at the stupid work event. And she just, he snapped his fingers, flipped a switch, said she was tired of pretending. I clenched my jaw, but forced myself to stay calm. And you did not think that was weird? I asked. Jake shrugged, looking down at his drink. I thought I was special, man. Thought she was finally choosing what made her happy. Yeah, I muttered. She told me the same thing about you. Jake's eyes darkened. He did not like that. Good. How long was she cheating before she got to you? Depressed. Jake hesitated. He did not want to say it. A year, he admitted finally. I laughed. Actually laughed. A year. I repeated, shaking my head. And you really thought you were the first? Jake did not answer. He did not need to. The realization was already sinking in. Emily did not just cheat. She collected people. She moved from one to the next, always keeping someone waiting in the wings before she made her final exit. She was a coward, a manipulative, selfish coward. Jake let out a slow breath. So what now? He asked. I smirked because I already knew. Now, I said, setting my glass down, we make sure Emily gets exactly what she deserves. Jake leaned in slightly. He was not smirking anymore. He was listening. And just like that, we had a plan. Jake and I sat there, silent for a moment, the weight of our shared humiliation hanging between us like thick smoke. We had both been played hard. And yet Emily still thought she was the one who had won. She thought she had burned everything to the ground and walked away clean. She had no idea what was coming. Jake set his empty glass down with a quiet clink. his jaw tightening. All right, man? I'm listening. I leaned forward. My voice steady, controlled. Emily built her whole world on lies. She's careful, calculated. But tonight she got sloppy. Jake's eyes flickered with understanding because she thought she was already in the clear. Exactly. Emily had been prepared to break things off with me. She had set the stage, played the victim, made sure I looked like the pathetic, obsessive husband who just could not let go. She thought she'd backed me into a corner where the only thing left for me to do was disappear quietly. But now her plan had fallen apart. Jake exhaled sharply, shaking his head. She would not go down without a fight. She does not have a choice, I said smoothly, sliding my phone across the table toward him. He picked it up, frowning as he scrolled through the evidence I had collected, the folder full of screenshots, the texts, the photos, the dates. I watched his face darken as he processed the full extent of Emily's deceit. Jesus, he muttered. She was seeing both of us at the same time she was with that other guy. Looks like it. His grip tightened on the phone. Who is he? I do not know yet. I admitted, but I would. I had time now, and patience, and a hell of a lot of motivation. Jake let out a humorless chuckle. She really thought she could juggle 3 guys and never get caught. She did not just think it, I said, leaning back. She knew she could. She had done it before. She played me for years. Jake made me think I was the problem. And you, I gestured at him. She made you feel like you were the only one, that she was choosing you over me. Jake's expression twisted with anger. She made me feel like I won. And that was the thing about Emily. She did not just cheat. She manipulated. She built a reality where you thought she was the victim, and you were the savior. And when she was done with you, she made sure you blamed yourself. I tilted my head, watching him carefully. You still love her? Jake's face hardened. Not anymore. Good. I took my phone back, locking it with a tap. Then let us ruin her. Jake smirked. Slow and dangerous. What's the plan? I smiled. Oh, we were going to give Emily exactly what she wanted. We were going to let her leave me. And then we were going to take everything from her. Emily thought she had won. She thought she had me trapped. Thought I'd slink away, humiliated and broken. While she moved on with her perfect little escape plan, she thought I was just another casualty in her pattern of betrayal. She was so wrong. Jake and I left the bar that night with a silent understanding. We were not just 2 guys who got played by the same woman. We were something worse for Emily. We were a problem she could not control. I drove home with a strange sense of peace. The pain was still there. A dull throb in the back of my mind. But the anger, the rage, that had turned into something better, something useful. I did not answer Emily's calls. Did not respond to her texts. Did not acknowledge her existence at all. And that drove her insane. By the next morning, she was pounding on the front door. I took my time answering, letting her stew outside like the pathetic liar she was. When I finally opened the door, I did not say a word. I just leaned against the frame, arms crossed, waiting. Emily looked different. She was not smug anymore. She was not in control. Her hair was messy. Her eyes wild with frustration. Her mouth pressed into a tight line. What the hell is your problem? She snapped. I smiled. Come on, Emily, I said lightly. That's no way to talk to your soon-to-be ex-husband. Her expression flickered. She had been expecting me to beg, to fight, to try and hold on to her. Instead, I was calm, too calm. Emily crossed her arms. So that's it. You were just accepting it. Of course, I said, leaning closer. I mean, you wanted this, right? You were going to leave anyway. I'm just saving you the trouble. She studied me, her lips parting slightly, as if she did not quite believe what she was hearing. You were lying, she said. I smirked. Am I? She hesitated. This was not how it was supposed to go. I was not supposed to be fine. And that's when I saw it, the flicker of doubt in her eyes. Because Emily had spent years manipulating me. She knew how I thought, how I reacted, how I loved her despite everything. But now she was looking at a different man. "You're up to something," she accused, narrowing her eyes. I tilted my head. "You think I have something to hide? That's cute, Emily. But let us talk about you." Her expression barely changed. But I saw the stiffness in her posture. "What do you mean?" she said carefully. "Oh, you know exactly what I mean," I said, stepping back and motioning toward the house. "Come on in. Let us have a little chat." For the first time since I had known her, Emily hesitated before crossing a threshold into our home. Because she knew deep down, that she was not walking into a conversation. She was walking into a trap. And I was going to make sure she never crawled out of it.